Hi there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies, and today's video is about competition. And just some of my thoughts on that. I got in a question and somebody was basically saying, if you run teacher trainings, part of the challenge with this, you're teaching people in your modality. Let's say you run a yoga studio. So you do a teacher training. Well, now you have more yoga teachers in town. And that's great, but now it means the population that are into yoga get divided up, like a pie in smaller and smaller wedges, so that yes, you made money on the teacher training, but now you're losing money long term. This is the way it goes. You have a modality, you might even create it and then you teach other people to do it, but now they're doing it. So maybe some of the people who went to see you are actually more drawn to see this other person who does your modality. So what to do about that, and what to do about other people. You're the first yoga teacher in town. There's nobody else. I remember I met a woman who was in Orangeville, Ontario, and she was the only yoga teacher in Orangeville. There you go. The niche is solved. But what happens when a few years later there's 20? So whether it's by your own creation that you crafted the competition because you taught people how to do what you do, or because they're moving in from elsewhere, or however it happens, what to do about it. This is my thought on competition. So, first of all, it comes from the Greek roots, which means to conspire together. That's the idea. So competition, not a bad thing. I'm really not against it. A way that we push each other to excel. I get better at what I do, and that everyone else has to raise their game. So that's fine, but here's fundamentally how I see it. So that's one understanding, is we push each other to get better. But another way to look at it is more of an ecosystem understanding, which is that, or niche, So if I had, let's say I was the only yoga teacher in town, and suddenly other yoga teachers start moving in, and now there's 20 of them. One way I could relate to this is to become very bitter and jaded and say, I was the original one here, and you're all newcomers and Johnny-come-latelys, and you're all taking my business. There's this pie, and there's only so much pie to go around, so you're getting a slice and I'm losing it. The other way to look at it is to say, what? It's true, of the clients I have, there's only so much pie, but what if together we could make more pie? That's the idea. That analogy comes from Lynn Twist, author of The Soul of Money. What if we just made more pie for everyone? What if there were more people into yoga? What if we could all work together in that way? Number one. But number two, maybe the truth is you're really into prenatal yoga. That's the area you'd like to focus on. And this other person is into psoas stretching, or they're into God, there's so many types of yoga. So you start getting a more varied marketplace. You start getting more of a robust ecosystem, which is actually much more resilient. And maybe I'll put some links below of some of the, within yoga or permaculture, the number of niches, because, with permaculture, there's the old joke, how many permaculturists does it take to change a light bulb? 14. 1 to change the light bulb, 13 to teach a workshop about it. And the reason that's a hilarious joke is because when people get into permaculture and they get their permaculture design certification, what's the first thing they think about doing often is, I am going to either I'll create a landscaping company, or I'll start teaching workshops. So everyone is, does permaculture is just teaching workshops about permaculture, and it becomes a strange pyramid scheme of that's the way you make money in permaculture, is teaching other people to make permaculture workshops that they can then teach, in which they will teach other people to do permaculture workshops. Yeah. So it's just that we can be more creative than this. There are a lot of ways that one could sustain oneself using any modality. There's a lot of different, generally, let's just say who, what, where, when, how, why. Within those, there's a lot of different things you could do with yoga. You could change when you do it. Maybe you do the late night yoga or early morning yoga, because that'll work for different people. You could change where you do it. And maybe it's in the country. Maybe it's in this part of town where there are no yoga studios. It could be what you do. You do yoga plus another something, or a specific school of thought of yoga, a specific approach. Could be how you do it, a different style, an aesthetic that you have. Punk rock yoga I've seen. Yeah, God, there's so many. Again, I'll put a link below. You could have, could be Who? Yeah, God, you just do it. I do yoga for depression, yoga for addiction, like Tommy Rosen with Recovery 2.0. Who, what, where, when, how, why you do it. I mean, I don't know. It's probably less relevant directly in terms of niching, but you get the idea. All these things, and then together, my God, it doesn't just have to be one. You can combine these things, and you get this suddenly more and more people into yoga. So, for example, if you did yoga for rednecks, you think, well, I'm a kind of a redneck, but I really like yoga. Well, you could probably reach that group of people in a way that nobody else could. Yoga for depression. Well, you went through depression, you struggle with mental health, so you have a yoga practice that's specifically for those people. Yoga for cancer. You see what I'm saying? Yoga and weight loss. Yoga for round bodies, like Tina Veer in Toronto. There's so many people look at it and they think, oh, there's only so much pie. No. You can make more pie. Pie is not a finite resource. You can get ingredients. There are whole cookbooks based on how to make pie. So yeah, you can just keep making more pie. And so, to go back to the original question, if you're the original one in town that's been doing this or in an area, and you got a lot of other people coming in, thank God, what a relief. You can meet with them and talk with them and say, so what do you do? What do you want to do? What's your focus? And that, you may start to realize that actually they want to do the thing. They're excited to do the thing you no longer want to do. You're a practitioner and you're tired of helping people with this particular kind of issue. Oh my God, I can just send them to you? Thank God. I have this with my business all the time. Things that I'm not particularly excited or don't feel totally qualified to help people with. And I have colleagues I can send them to. Oh, you have a WordPress website, you're struggling with the technical side? I don't know anything about that. But Sean does at wordpressforgood.com, which I recommend checking out. You want help writing your bio? Well, I can help a little bit, but I'd really recommend Nancy Jutton and her work. You get the idea. So it's not a problem. It's an opportunity. When there are more and more people coming into your field, you could look at it as competition, or you could look at it as potential collaboration, and everyone works together, in a win-win way. Yeah, why not more holistic practitioners? Why not more permaculture people? This would be great. What if that became the norm? Everyone doing this stuff. Because there's so many of us being so effective at reaching different people in different ways. This would be a very, very fine thing indeed. So that's my thought. Of course, you got to be strategic about this and savvy as well. There's no point in being naive about any of this, but for what it's worth, those are my thoughts on competition. So I'll put some links below. Hopefully that was helpful. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and then the little bell that'll notify you when a new video comes out. And if you're watching this on Facebook, you can just like my page. And feel free to share these videos with your friends. Tag people below you think it might be useful for. And if you have any questions, I'd really love to hear them. Maybe they'll turn into the next video. Thanks so much.